A little over 2 years ago, a friend of mine bred a little quarter horse on the other side of Spain. In congratulating her for the healthy birth out of her mare, I remarked how much I would love one day to enjoy the companionship of a horse she had bred. She asked, why not this horse? And 2 and a bit years later, here he is arriving on my farm.
Hello, you want a boop? Boop, okay.
We named him Anoki, or Oki for short. Though I am pleased he is a quarter horse, I did not seek him as a team member due to his breed. I sought him out because of his breeder. His breeder offers a small operation, one young horse at a time, living outside in a herd, on a forage-based diet, with gentle and quiet handling on a regular basis, living in open space with variable terrain. This seems like a simple thing to afford horses, and yet it's very hard to come by. It is so hard to come by horses whom are gently handled, kept outside, and fed a forage-based diet that it's even sometimes impossible to find that. Even more rare it is to find horses who are not weaned suddenly. 3 months, 6 months is the industry standard practice for weaning if they're lucky. And in conversations with Oki's breeder, before we agreed that I would become his forever home, we agreed on our arrangement that I would pay for Oki's feed and board from birth, also his vet bills, his castration, and all of his necessities. And she would steward him gently and allow a slow weaning process, affording him a minimum of 2 years at home with his mum, with his herd, in a stable environment. This was my prerequisite to affording him a forever home, was that good early start of 2 years of stability and gentleness. His dam started to self-wean him very gradually and slowly at around 18 months of age. Considering that most horses are weaned suddenly or even slowly, but at an early age of 3 months or 6 months if they're lucky, the fact that his dam only began to consider taking him off milk at around 18 months of age is something we must be thinking about as a community. And up until 3 months ago, Oki was still taking sips of milk every other day at 2 years old. We finalized his weaning just before his transport, doing this very slowly and very patiently. This has not created an emotionally infantile animal that can't get off the udder, which I believe is one of the many reasons why horses are usually weaned early. Sometimes horses are weaned early because the dam has to go back into foal and produce another, or the dam appears tired or under-resourced and they want to take the foal away to give mum a break. But instead of offering mum more support and allowing nature to take its course, we intervene too early. So instead of creating a horse that's over-attached to things, what we've actually done is created a healthy and confident little colt that has in his nervous system the peace of pure attachments, not traumatized by sudden departures and losses. It's the equine equivalent of attachment theory. Separation anxiety, herd sourness, barn sourness, motivation problems, learning problems, immaturity problems, aggression, bitiness, pushiness, spookiness, gut disorders, nervous system disorders. In my work, consulting with thousands of horses all over the world and taking copious notes, all these issues can be traced back to poor early life experiences, especially and specifically early forced weaning. As far as castration goes, many colts are weaned at 3 to 6 months to stop inbreeding. I have a whole conversation here on my YouTube about the subject of geldings versus stallions and why we shouldn't be seeking to castrate them so late. unless we are interested in breeding. You can go ahead and watch that here. So we actually had Oki castrated at 9 months, not at 3 months, not at 6 months, and not at 2 years. We had him castrated at 9 months so that he could continue growing up with his mother and his mixed gender herd. In my opinion and experience, the earlier you castrate, the better. The earlier you castrate, the less risky the procedure is. The later you castrate, the more risks you can run into, such as gelding scars, bleeding issues, inflammation, and even personality changes. Though I've also castrated 5-year-old horses, 10-year-old horses in Sereno, and saw no major personality changes, only personality improvements, only welfare improvements. I'm not a breeder, so I don't need a stallion. Instead of stripping Oki from his social and emotional developmental milestones to allow testosterone to continue in his system for physical development, we prioritized his social and emotional development, knowing that by the time he is 6 and ready for riding, his body will develop sufficiently for these purposes. I don't need testosterone to fast track the riding, to fast track his physical development, because I'm prepared to wait. Did I mention he won't be ridden until at least 6 years old? But that is a whole other issue that needs a whole other video. So Oki grew up an ideal early life. He was carefully and meticulously prepared for 6 months of training to be loaded into a trailer and travel to us across the country, which was a 2-day journey. He has had hoof trimming since an early age on a regular basis, often done at Liberty. And I want to thank Louise Holler for her huge work here. And you can also find a podcast with Louise Holler, who was his trimmer and his trainer, here on the channel as well. So recently, Oki arrived home, and this is what day 1 looked like. He was so relaxed. He got off the trailer, he immediately took care of himself, drank a little water, navigated himself around, ate a little. And his early life experiences means that he can literally be teleported across the country with no prior experience at transport and arrive so well-minded and in such good spirit. It is a myth that we must destabilize horses at a young age in order to build resiliency and learning, in my opinion. We need to give them stability so that they can be resilient later. He met my other horses, and I think that they were more excited to meet him than he was to meet them.
Oh, he's not afraid of the tape at all.
And over several days, we introduced them to each other.
Boring.
First, we introduced them to each other across a double extra high fence, and then we started taking the fences down bit by bit to give them gradual customization towards each other. Then we started doing some supervised play dates in hand in a halter.
You like him?
And then second with supervised free introductions.
Oh, Caleb. Oh, Caleb. Is that your
Oh, Caleb. Yeah.
Hello. You want a boop?
Boop.
Okay.
And then one day, while we were bringing them in for meals, suddenly Oki was there among them. Within 2 weeks, he's been well integrated into my herd, and they're becoming very accepting of him. Sorenyo even took it upon himself to become his bodyguard. And if you're interested in seeing my strategies for herd introduction, you can head over to my video library on Patreon and watch an in-depth analysis of Oki's introduction and learn some of the rules and strategies that I employ for a safe and seamless introduction of a new herd member. We are so happy Oki is home, and we hope to enjoy many decades of his exceptional company. We plan to take you with us on his learning and training journey when that time comes.